Okay, today I have I'm actually just waking up, but I wanted to get this recorded and so I can put this on YouTube as soon as possible because I have some pretty good news actually. Excuse me as I get my head together. But last night I actually had a dream within a dream, or an out-of-body experience within a dream, I should say, or it was in waking up in a dream, which induced an out-of-body experience. All right, so out-of-body experience is actually what I was trying to do before lucid dreaming, but I think through reading, talking about Don Juan and Carlos Castaneda, just basically how Don Juan took him through the steps, which was lucid dreaming first, then was waking up in a dream and looking at yourself, which is kind of like what happened last night. I didn't get a chance to look at myself, but let me just go ahead and explain. Alright, so the last time that I woke up in my dream was, I believe I woke up in the middle of the night and went back to sleep then too. And there was another time before I started my Vournal where I was trying to do out-of-body experience, where I woke up in the middle of the night, went back to sleep, and then I woke up in sleep paralysis, which is pretty much what I would have needed to get out the body. But I was afraid, so I didn't end up getting out. But this time, the exact same thing. So what I'm realizing is the wild technique, which is wake-induced lucid dreaming, which pretty much is what I just said. Sleeping for about 4 hours, waking up, staying up for about an hour, hour and a half, well 20 minutes to an hour and a half, and then going back to sleep. Now most people can't do that because of work schedules and stuff like that, but I myself work for myself. I work through the internet, so I make my own hours. I work anywhere, anytime, and for the most part I don't even have to work, so I make my own sleep schedule. I have that luxury, but not everybody else can. But that's what I've been doing. I actually heard this from Stephen LaBarge, but there's another guy, I can never remember his name, but he's like the other guy that worked on the book with him. And he said that he would have about 4 or 5 lucid dreams a month through the staring at your hands technique. But he said once he started the wake, going back to bed technique, he said that he literally had 30 lucid dreams a month. So at that time I was like, oh, that's cool, but I still like the looking at my hands thing. I want that to be my stimulus. But so far, man, this wake and do stuff is working. So in between the time when I wake up, I come to the living room and turn on my laptop, try to keep the lights low, don't eat anything, don't drink anything, well, unless you're thirsty or hungry, but don't eat enough to be full, just enough to cure hunger, and don't drink enough so that you have to wake up and use the bathroom again. In that time, and you want to keep the lighting low so that your thing that creates the melatonin at night doesn't start to dissolve that, thinking that it's daytime. So you want to keep the lights kind of dim. Alright, so I turn my laptop on and I'm listening to, it's actually a new guy that I found last night. I think his name was Robert Moss. Talks about active dreaming, which is the same thing as lucid dreaming, in a more shamanistic way. And I watched that for the whole hour and a half. Well, I watched a few things, but you try to keep the mind focused on lucid dreaming. You should get out the bed, because if you don't get out the bed, your body's just going to slip right back into the dream cycle. You need to stay up for an entire dream cycle, which is 20 minutes to 90 minutes. That way the body will crave REM sleep. This is how it was explained to me. So the body will crave REM sleep when you're laying back down. It'll take you back into dreamland faster than it would if you was to just go to sleep, because the dream cycles are shorter at the beginning of your sleep period, but around 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock are longer. So if you wake up during that time, you're building up that whole need for REM. So when you go lay down again, you're more than likely to enter back into the dreams faster. That way your intention from the waking hour carries over into the dream a lot easier. Just the same way as if if I'm playing Call of Duty before I go to sleep, I'm 9 out of 10, that's going to be one of the first things on my mind while I'm falling asleep, is going through the boards and all that kind of stuff. So same principle applies. You're trying to bridge intention. That's really the entire point. Same thing with meditation, same thing with OBE. You're really just trying to bridge intention through that gap, that void where you're not conscious or unconscious and you don't know where you are and you're not really thinking about what's going on. It's that hypnagogic stage where your thoughts are becoming images, but you aren't really aware of it yet. So in that stage, you need your attention, your intention to be able to cross over, especially because your thoughts create your scenery. So the last thing that you're thinking about or thinking about heavily will start to paint that picture. So last night, as I do this, I get up, kind of questioning myself as I do every time. Is this worth it? Man, I should just get some rest and all that kind of stuff. So that's normal. You know, it's just my body trying to fight me into doing what it thinks I need. So nothing wrong with that. So I get up, watch these videos, go back to sleep, go lay back down. At first it took me a while. It took me about an hour to get back to sleep, which usually happens. I start to feel like I'm awake and I start to think verbally. And that keeps me in a state of, I don't want to say alpha, but it does keep me above sleep. And it kind of keeps me a little more alert. So I try to think, I try to stop thinking like that. If anything, if I'm going to do anything, I start to try to visualize. I start to try to visually think about my intentions. And that usually helps. I'll start to notice pictures and stuff forming. For example, at the beginning, one of the things that the guy was talking about in the lucid dreaming video was becoming an eagle, or having the awareness of an eagle or something like that. A hawk, something like that. And I noticed at the beginning of one of my dreams, I was literally behind the tail feathers of a hawk, and I could see this mountain scene like below him, and it was for like 2 seconds, but it was beautiful. I was right behind this bird, and I saw those mountain scenes, and I was like, whoa, I'm in the dream. Boom, popped up, woke up. Or the dream's beginning and woke up. But so when I actually did fall asleep, this is the dream that I had. I had a dream that I was like next door to my apartment, but my apartment was a house. So I was next door to my house in a neighbor's home. I was upstairs in their home at night, which is crazy because that's burglary, right? Or intrusion or whatever. But in this dream, their home was kind of like some type of community center, almost like I liken it to, this is the first thing I thought after I woke up, I liken it to a neighbor that has a basketball court in their driveway, or a hoop in their driveway, and they say you can use it at any time, so all the neighborhood kids are welcome, but of course there are certain times of the day that you can't use it. But I would have been there after hours, so let's just say that anybody could come in their house, but I was there after hours, so I was expecting a little bit of flack when people saw me. So his kids saw me. They didn't really have a reaction, but you can tell they were kind of uncomfortable, of course. The guy saw me. He was on the phone, and he didn't really say anything. So I'm kind of just walking out of his house because I don't really want any drama. So I'm exiting the premises, and as I do, I hear him talking on the phone behind me. But then his talk ends up becoming one of the interviews that I was listening to before going to sleep. So I hear these guys talking about lucid dreaming, and I'm like, oh snap. Somebody talking about lucid dreaming. Or it was like, I want to say it's like, oh snap, talking about lucid dreaming. But it was like, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. That's what it was. And that kind of like woke me up. I was like, oh, that sounds familiar. Nobody's talking about lucid dreaming in my dream. I was like, that's obviously playing outside my head. At the time, that's what I thought. I thought, because I had the idea of bringing my laptop in the bedroom and just playing, some interviews or something until I fell asleep. So I actually thought that it was on outside of me. So I'm, hearing that inside my dream, and I kind of wake up, to become aware of my surroundings again. So I'm out of the dream now. And in the dream, when I exit out the premises and as I'm walking across the lawn to get back to my home, that's when I kind of come out. So I'm back laying in my bed again. I can feel myself. And I like to open the window. It's wintertime. I'm in Texas, but it's wintertime. Gets a little cooler at night. I like to open my window and have the fan on, no matter what season it is. And I'm under my covers freezing. That's just how I like it. So I'm curled up in the fetal position with my hands between my legs because it's cold. It's freezing. And I don't know. I can just feel myself. So I kind of like it. This feeling comes over me. It doesn't really let me know that something's different, but I still have my hands between my legs, and I'm like, I roll over to look out the window. And as I get like at a 45-degree roll, I start to realize that something is different about the way I'm moving. Like, I can feel my hands in between my legs, and I can feel my legs moving, but I can also feel another set. I can also feel my hand in between my physical legs. So as I'm turning over, I'm looking, and I look out the window, and I say, yeah, that's real. So I roll all the way over, and I don't even end up, I want to say I end up on my feet, but I don't even end up on feet. I end up in a space in between my bed and window where I would normally be standing at. I end up there, and I can't even see myself in the bed. But as soon as I roll out, I know, because I can feel the feeling of not having a body but taking up space. It's crazy because, as I'm rolling out of my body, I can feel legs. My hands are between my legs, but when I roll out the bed, when I feel myself roll out the bed, it's like I instantaneously said, this is it. And I realized what I was doing. Now, at first, I thought I was having a lucid dream. I was like, oh, I'm awake in a dream. And then I realized that I was out of my body. And I had just did that, they call it stop, drop, and roll technique. Well, no, that's not the stop, drop, and roll technique. That's just the roll out technique. I had just did the roll out technique. And I started floating straight up. Now I look up, and I'm going into this ceiling. And I'm like, oh, snap, I'm about to go outside. I'm like, man, I'm getting ready to explore. This is going to be so awesome. And I instantly had the thought, wait a minute. My girlfriend in the next room. Let me go and go and look at her, see what she's doing, so tomorrow I can tell her. But, I had forgot, in my excitement, I forgot that she's not even here. She's in Chicago. So I wasn't even able to tell her. But I remember thinking, as I'm going up through the ceiling, think her, so I can go where she is. And that was it, man. Then I was like, I was going up through the ceiling. It was like I could see through it, kind of, so I could kind of see the beams and everything what it was made of. Nothing around the house looked really the same because it was darker, but it's hard to explain. I wasn't like really in a body. I was at like, it seemed like I was only a head and everything else around me was, I don't know, it's hard to explain. But yeah, and then I was back in bed in that position again, which is kind of like the same thing that Carlos Castaneda would say. You have to be in that position, fall asleep in the position, and then in a dream go to sleep in that same position. And when you do that, you get out of body or something like that. That's kind of how he broke it down. That's not what I was trying to do, but that is what happened. It was like I woke up in a dream because of my intention to become lucid in a dream. And when I woke up, once I realized that I was dreaming, trying to turn over, I exited my body. So, but I'm just glad that I was able to retain a little bit of awareness so that I could tell you guys about it, because I was honestly confused, because I thought I had woke up, and I guess I woke up out of my body. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but things are happening, so I'm happy. I'm obviously growing in this, and just want to share that with you guys, that the wild technique has really been helping. And man, I'm excited about what's going to happen next. I'm going to try the exact same thing tonight, see what happens. And man, I'm excited. That was crazy. I wasn't even trying to get out my body, and that's what happened. I rolled over right out of my body. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. it was like as soon as I got out of the bed, instead of me hitting the ground, it was almost like I was on some type of hoverboard, and I instantly was up, like overlooking my room, but from the window, like near the top. Well, you can't see my room, so you don't know what my room is like, but my bed is next to the window. If I roll over to my right, I have about 1.5 feet of space, well, 2 feet between me and the bed, me and the window, the wall with the window in it. I rolled over right into that space and just hovered there. I felt like a mass of something, but not hands and feet. I wasn't hands and feet floating in the air, but I was, I guess, just awareness, just consciousness. And I actually didn't look at my body, but I could see my bed, I could see the door, I could see my entire room. And when I dream about my place, it's never the same, but in this case it was. And I remember thinking, oh, she's in the next room, I gotta get back there, because I immediately started going up. I immediately started feeling this feeling like pulling me upwards. And I remember thinking, no, not go up, because I was about to leave the house and go explore. But I'm like, no, not go up. Let's go see what she's doing so I can say whether or not, this was real. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy. That's not even a lucid dream really, but man, this stuff is crazy. I'm just excited about what's going to happen next. So I'll end the video there. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for spending time with me.